So this is the current state of our graph. I've got some debugs on so that we can see the large buildings, that's in the self-pruning, the medium buildings, that's going to be this little conversion there. And then in the smaller buildings, probably a good idea. Go ahead and organize that a little bit. We've got the self-pruning turned on. Okay, but this is showing the density, which is actually not the city center data that we want. But we can very easily copy that information over to the density. So I'm going to pull off of here. We'll add a copy attributes node. We have a target and a source input, and the data exists on this point stream for both. We're looking at the city center for where the data lives, and then we're going to just click on this little plus here, go to point, select density. For where we want to output it, and then we can plug it in like that. Now what you'll notice is we're missing any points that are beyond probably 50,000 units, which was our cutoff there, because there is a toggle down here in our difference node, which is to keep zero density points. By default, it's turned off. If you turn it back on, you'll see we should generate all those points, but we don't actually want to keep these zero density points. We want to modify these values. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that city center value and I'm going to multiply it against the scale of the buildings. So they are larger here and smaller out here, but I don't want them going to 0. So I'll head back up here. I'm going to scoot this over. Right click, type the word max. We want the attribute maths op. I'm going to hold control. I can pull both of those wires out and plug from the output of the subtract into the in A here. So what's going to happen is when I tell it what attribute I want to pay attention to, if the value is from the city center data is larger than this value, then that will pass through. Otherwise, it'll pass through 0. So obviously 0 is pretty small, and I don't want anything going to 0, so I'm going to set this to 0.25. So what this means is if the city center value is above 0.25, we'll just keep whatever it is. Otherwise, we'll pass out 0.25 for our city center value. And now you can see those points aren't being called and they're not going to 0. So that should be a pretty good value for us to start playing with. We'll start with our large buildings. We've got transform points here. Let's make a little bit of space. Just going to scoot these guys over a little bit. I'm going to add a multiply. And what we're going to multiply here, again, the data exists on the point, so we're going to use that for the A and the B. We're going to grab multiplication, the order doesn't really matter, but whatever. City center. And then what we're going to multiply it against is the scale. So this is where we're modifying that scale data. 25, 25, and 100 as being the max possible values here. So by doing this, we're taking whatever, basically the proximity of the point to the city center and kind of lerping down to 0.25 of whatever these values are based on, that distance. Whoops, forgot something important. Make sure you output the target to the point scale. So here we can see the fairly dramatic result of multiplying the scales of these buildings by their proximity to the city center. So we can do a few things. We can increase the values. We can also multiply our city center values. That's probably what we'll do, so we can get one value and then we can amplify what's happening here. So let's take a quick look at that. We'll head back up here. So this is where we're generating that data, that city center data. So we'll just add a multiply node. Holding Control there to rewire it. We're going to be operating on the city center attribute. I'm going to create an attribute. And we'll just go ahead and set this to, I don't know, something that should have a pretty noticeable output, right? Okay. So I think that actually looks kind of cool. Maybe 5 is a little bit too dramatic, but yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, so now we're starting to get this effect working as expected by multiplying our city center value by 3. So let's go ahead and update the rest of our buildings with this new functionality. So here's our transform points. We'll just add this multiply in. I guess the multiply is one of these nodes that can handle a variety of inputs. So it's converting it because I didn't tell it what we're working with. And once again, the order here doesn't actually matter. City center and scale. And then we'll set the output to scale there as well. So we should begin to see our medium-sized buildings, these here popping up. We may see an update after that finishes. I think these could be a little bit taller. Let's go to transform points, and we'll set this to 50. We should see a few of them hop up a bit. And then while that's going, I'm just going to copy this multiply node down here for the small buildings. We'll throw it after our transform. We'll hold off on connecting that for now. That's all set up properly. Cool. All right, it's getting a little bit hard to see what's going on without using geometry. So let's go ahead and just throw a quick cube in here. I think I made one, yeah. So we'll make static mesh spawner. We will come over to our mesh entries. Open the descriptor way deep down inside of this thing. And we can grab our cube, which is just a unit cube, 1 by 1 by 1, or 100 by 100 units or whatever. And now we need to feed it some points. So we've got large buildings, medium buildings, and let's add another named reroute. And then over here, we can just grab those reroutes. And let's just disable our debugs for now. Cool. Let's just confirm everything's working with our blueprint repositioning here for our city center. Cool. All right, so we're making some progress here. In the next video, we will take a look at a simple technique to break up this perfectly circular boundary of our city center and add some smaller city sections here kind of sprinkled throughout the map.